Hi, Tom from bkmnutrition.com and also the Ministry of Fitness Gym in Bristol. Now, the topic of today is when will gyms in the UK reopen after lockdown? Now, this is a subject which is quite hot at the moment. It's obviously quite hot because people want to get back into the gym. I'd like to say that I don't have insider information. I don't have a hotline to Boris. So all the stuff I'm going to talk about here is purely my own view after watching the news, reading articles, looking at research, all that sort of stuff. And I've put together my own conclusions and my own sort of planning, because you have to have a plan for the future. In business, it's never worth just sitting there thinking, oh, I hope something will happen and I hope it will be good. I've got to have a plan for my gym reopening. I've got to have a plan for my nutrition programs. And so this is just a little bit of insight into what I've thought about, and take it what you will. It is my own opinion. It's not fact, as in it's not been confirmed by any government sources. It's just my opinion on when gyms might reopen. So if you look at the facts as they are, as things are going at the moment, as of the news last night, everything seems to be coming down. So the death rate is coming down, the infection rate is coming down. Obviously, things are starting to look better. And on the news yesterday, on the press briefing, the chief medical officer did say that him and his colleagues did think that they were past the peak of this second wave. So that's a very good thing. That means that the lockdown has, in a sense, worked to bring down the death rate, and has also worked to bring down the R rate and also the number of cases. So that's a good thing. So things are starting to go down. Now, we are just at the end of January. So we started lockdown on the 4th of January, I think it was, and it's now the 4th of February. So 1 month later, things are starting to improve massively. You also have over 10 million people, as of this morning, I believe, I think it's 10 million and a bit, but over 10 million people vaccinated. And also, I think there's something like 600,000 people have had their second vaccination. So that's another important point, is that the whole purpose of lockdown was to protect the NHS. And the reason the NHS is under stress, and if you looked at one of the graphs that were on the press briefing yesterday, they showed the how people got infected and how it was affecting them. So you had all these different sort of levels of ages, and then when they got infected, how many people died, unfortunately, how many people were still in hospital, and how many people had been treated and were out of hospital. So you had like a big central dark blue bit, which was the people who had died, unfortunately. Then you had a lighter bit, which is people who are still undergoing treatment. And then you had a bigger bit, which is people who'd recovered. And as you went down the ages, then the dark bit got less. So obviously the death rate was lower in people who are younger, and actually anyone under 18, there was very, very low instances of death in those areas. And I think when I looked at it, is under the 45 age group. So I'm 41 in a month's time, so it's quite nice to see the under 45 age group, again, very low. So it's anyone over 45, 50 and over are the people who are most vulnerable, which you probably already knew. And now the purpose of the vaccination program is to get those people, so they have 9 tiers of people who are getting the injections. Those people should have been vaccinated at least once by the time you get to mid-February. And obviously they are rolling out the second dose as well, so that's going to be catch up. So if you think that through, potentially looking at the majority of those people being vaccinated and having their second jab by the end of February. And that's why you have this talk about schools reopening on March the 8th. Now, obviously, if you have watched the press briefings, you'll know this. If you haven't, I'll just recap you for it. Schools need about 2 weeks notice in order to reopen, because obviously you can't just say, oh yeah, schools are open, and then everyone goes back. The teachers need time to prepare work, the schools need time to prepare. So that's what they're talking about, March the 8th, and why they're putting this briefing together on February the 15th or the 18th, whenever that day is, in order to say what's going to happen. And there is a lot of pressure on the government from the backbenchers. There's a lot of tweets going on at the moment about reopening as soon as all these people are vaccinated and as soon as schools go back, because obviously businesses are having a real bad time with it. I have a business, I'm sure you have a business, or you're employed by someone and you're feeling it. Everybody's feeling it, and we can't go on like this forever, and we can't just keep doling out furlough money. So the plan is to reopen schools on March the 8th. Now, if you think the dates through, because dates sometimes go on March the 8th, March the 10th, what does that mean? March the 8th, if the school goes back, you've then got another 3 weeks later is Easter. So whenever your Easter holiday is for your school, or scheduled Easter holiday, you're looking at the end of March for when actually schools are going on holiday again. And they'll be on holiday for say 2.5 weeks or whatever for the Easter holiday. Now that would be the opportune moment to start opening businesses. And the reason for that is that you've got the schools closed, so then businesses can open. So you haven't got the people talk about the vector transmission in schools because of the kids all together can pass the infection between them, but not get symptoms and take it home to their loved ones. So then you have the schools closing again for Easter holiday, and then you have a gradual reopening of businesses. Now that date would coincide with the end of March, which is about 3 weeks after the schools initially open, and that would be a safe, logical time to when businesses would reopen. Now, as regards to gyms reopening, gyms were open in a tier 3 situation before. Now, if they follow that through and despite what people have said, that the government do take things like health and fitness seriously, and there is obviously a lot of evidence to show reduced transmission rates in gyms, and then obviously training in a gym or training in exercising in general is a healthy pursuit, and it helps prevent illnesses because it boosts your immune system, keeps you healthy, keeps you not obese, all those sorts of things. So if you follow that through, gyms will be, I would think, probably one of the first businesses to reopen. Now, I don't think you're going to have the situation you had in last lockdown where the pubs open first and then gyms a week later, because that would just be, I think, very stupid to do that considering everything that's going on at the moment, and obviously how we saw people behave when the pubs reopened last time. So I think there'll be a gradual reopening of non-essential shops and then gyms after that. So maybe non-essential shops on maybe the week commencing the 24th or 25th, and then you've got gyms reopening on the 31st is actually a Wednesday, I think. So I think the Friday is the 2nd of April, something like that. So I think it'd be around about that time. So the 31st of March, sort of 1st to 2nd of April, that's when gyms will get the go-ahead to open. Now, of course, like I said, I've got no hotline to the government. I don't know all this stuff. All I'm looking at is how things have panned out before and potentially how things will pan out in the future. As soon as schools go back, that's going to be another month and a bit from now. And we've already seen the R rate dropping, the cases dropping, the deaths dropping. We've already seen that, combined with the amount of people who will be vaccinated by that time. You've then got a stronger case for saying, well, the most vulnerable people are now protected and probably had their second jab by that time, so they should be at 80-90% protection rate. That is the logical time to then be thinking about, right, we need to get the economy open, we need to get money going back into taxes to fund public services, and we also need money in people's pockets so they can start spending on service environments and service businesses and actually get the economy moving again. But also, furlough is costing billions per month. My staff are on furlough at the gym. That is costing, it's an immense cost. You think about, my gym's only a very small business, think about the bigger businesses that are all on furlough. You just can't keep that up for much longer without creating a real issue. Now, I know people will watch this and say, well, further down the line there's going to be more taxes, everything else. Do you know what? That's just something that is probably going to happen. We've got to think about that. So I've put plans in my business to prepare for that. But in terms of preparing my business to open, I'm looking at the end of March, 31st of March, the 1st or 2nd of April. That is when I'm gearing all my stuff for Ministry of Fitness to reopen. Now, of course, if things happen early and we do reopen earlier than that, I'm prepared for that. But I would prefer to err on the side of caution. And the last time we had the gyms reopening thing, everyone was going, oh, it's going to be the 1st of July, it's going to be the 1st of July. And I was like, no, it's not. It's going to be the 24th, 25th or something. And yet it was the 24th or 25th because of all the things that had to be put in place. And gyms, again, are going to have to be given this sort of like week's notice sort of thing. So what I think will happen, you'll get the schools reopening, and then every week we'll get that same briefing about what's reopening next week, so people have time to get ready. So logically, if you follow all that through in terms of people being vaccinated, R rate coming down, death rates coming down, hospital stress being reduced, and obviously the winter is going, and we're going to start going into spring, so we've got more warmer climate, and generally we found that before there was less instances, and obviously winter you get more people ill anyway. So all those things I think are combining towards looking at the 31st of March or the 1st of April for a gyms reopening in the UK. Now, like I said, that's just my opinion. I'm looking at all the things that have happened, all the news stories I've seen, all the research articles I've read, talking to people in the industry, certain doctors and that. You know, it's all these things are combining, and this is my opinion. It's not a fact. It's not something I've got insider evidence for. It's just the way I've made my decisions, and that's what I'm gearing my business towards. What do you think? Feel free to comment. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. And I don't really want to get into discussion about conspiracy theories and stuff like that. I'm more into what I can see and what I can actually deal with. And I can't stop lockdown happening, but I can plan for things that I can control, and that's planning opening my business. Until then, of course, I'm going to be doing the online workouts, and all my staff, so all my PTs at the gym who are doing these in their private time, and then we're putting them onto YouTube. We are doing that to help people to train at home. If you're a gym member, you've got much more of those workouts in your app, so please do make use of those. And if you're on my coaching program, also you'll have those workouts and home workouts and stuff like that as well. So I hope that that video was helpful for you, and I hope it maybe gave you some maybe some hope that things were going to get better. Whatever you're doing, hopefully you stay safe and stay well, and I'll see you soon.